Imagine this. You open your banking app, you scroll past your checking account, past your credit card balance, and then you see it. Your savings account, $20,000. Now, here's the weird thing. Objectively speaking, $20,000 isn't life-changing money. It's not retirement, it's not financial freedom, it's not even a house down payment in most cities. But something strange happens the moment you see that number. Your shoulders relax, your mind feels quieter, and for the first time in a long time, money stops feeling like a constant threat. Look, if you've ever lived paycheck to paycheck, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That low-level anxiety in the background of your life. Can I afford this? What if something breaks? What if I lose my job? But when you reach $20,000 in savings, something changes, not just in your bank account, in your brain. My name is Zach, and I spend way too much time thinking about how people build wealth and why money affects our psychology so much. If you're someone who works hard but still feels anxious about money or struggles to build meaningful savings, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today we're going to talk about something that most financial advice completely overlooks. Why saving $20,000 isn't just a financial milestone, it's a psychological transformation. And once you hit it, the way you think about money often changes forever. The hidden stress of having no buffer. Here's the thing. Living without savings does something subtle but powerful to your brain. It forces you into constant short-term thinking. Every decision becomes urgent. Groceries, bills, rent, car repairs, everything feels like it's one step away from becoming a crisis. And this isn't just speculation. According to a Federal Reserve survey, about 37% of Americans would struggle to cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing money. Think about that for a second. $400. That's a car repair. That's a medical bill. That's a broken appliance. And if an expense that small can destabilize your life, your brain never fully relaxes. Psychologists call this scarcity mindset. When resources feel limited, your brain focuses almost entirely on immediate survival. Long-term thinking becomes incredibly difficult, which is why people without savings often struggle to invest, or plan long-term, or think about retirement. Their brain is too busy trying to avoid financial disasters. Why $20,000 is a psychological turning point. Now you might be thinking, why $20,000 specifically? Why not $5,000? Why not $50,000? Well, here's what most people don't realize. At around $20,000 in savings, something important happens. For many households, that amount represents 3 to 6 months of living expenses. And that's the point where money stops being just survival and starts becoming security. Let's run some simple math. Imagine your essential monthly expenses are around $3,000. Rent, $1,500. Food, $500. Transportation, $400. Utilities and insurance, $600. That's $3,000 per month. If you have $20,000 saved, that means you could theoretically survive 6 months without income. Now look, nobody wants to lose their job, but your brain knows something important. You would survive. And that knowledge changes everything. This is where it gets really interesting, because once you reach that level of security, your decision-making changes. People without savings often make decisions based on fear. They stay in toxic jobs. They avoid taking career risks. They delay opportunities because they can't afford uncertainty. But someone with $20,000 in savings suddenly has options. They can quit a terrible job. They can take time to find a better opportunity. They can move cities. They can start a side business. The money itself didn't change their life, but the freedom it creates absolutely did. The psychology of financial breathing room. Think about it like oxygen. When you're breathing normally, you don't think about oxygen. But when oxygen disappears, it becomes the only thing that matters. Money works the same way. When you don't have enough, it dominates your mental energy. But once you create financial breathing room, your brain unlocks new cognitive capacity. In fact, research from Princeton University found that financial stress can reduce cognitive performance by the equivalent of losing 13 IQ points. Let me repeat that. Financial scarcity literally makes it harder to think clearly. So when you build savings, you're not just improving your finances, you're improving your mental bandwidth. The confidence effect. Now, here's what most people don't realize. Saving $20,000 doesn't just change your security, it changes your identity. Before that milestone, you might see yourself as someone who struggles with money, someone who's bad with finances, someone who just hopes things work out. But after you save $20,000, you've proven something to yourself. You can control money, you can delay gratification, you can plan long term. And that identity shift is powerful because once someone sees themselves as a saver or investor, their behavior changes permanently. The snowball effect. This is where the math starts getting exciting. Saving the first $20,000 is usually the hardest part. Why? Because every dollar comes directly from your effort. But once that $20,000 exists, it becomes the seed of future wealth. Let's say you invest that money in a broad stock market index fund, earning an average of 8% annually. At that rate, your $20,000 becomes $43,000 in 10 years, $93,000 in 20 years, $200,000 in 30 years, and that's without adding another dollar. Now imagine you keep contributing even small amounts. Suddenly, the math becomes extraordinary. The objection most people have. Now you might be thinking, okay Zach, but saving $20,000 sounds impossible. And look, I get it. For someone living paycheck to paycheck, that number feels enormous. But here's what most people don't realize. You don't save $20,000 all at once. You save it incrementally. Let's say you save $10 per day. That's $300 per month. That's $3,600 per year. At that rate, you reach $20,000 in about 5.5 years. Now that might sound slow, but 5 years will pass whether you save or not. The difference is whether you arrive there with financial security or financial stress. The 3 changes that make this possible. So how do people actually reach that milestone? It usually comes down to 3 changes. 1. Income expansion. Budgeting has limits. Income growth does not, which means focusing on better skills, better jobs, side income streams, even an extra $300 per month dramatically accelerates savings. 2. Automating your money. People fail at saving because they rely on willpower, but wealth builders rely on systems, automatic transfers, automatic investments, automatic savings. If money never sits in your checking account, you won't spend it. 3. Delaying lifestyle inflation. This is the hardest part psychologically. When income increases, most people upgrade their lifestyle immediately. Better car, better apartment, better everything. But delaying those upgrades for a few years creates enormous savings momentum. Here's what most people don't realize. Saving $20,000 isn't impressive because of the money. It's impressive because of the habits required to reach it. Discipline, consistency, delayed gratification. Those habits are the exact same ones required to build $100,000, $500,000, or even millions. So the milestone isn't just about the number. It's about proving to yourself that you can operate at a higher financial level. The bigger perspective. Look, your financial journey isn't defined by one big breakthrough. It's defined by a series of thresholds. $1,000 saved, $5,000 saved, $20,000 saved, $100,000 invested. Each milestone changes how you think. Each milestone makes the next one easier. And eventually, something amazing happens. Money stops feeling like a constant problem and starts feeling like a tool. Look, if you're early in your financial journey, $20,000 might feel far away. But remember something important. The goal isn't saving $20,000 overnight. The goal is building the habits that make it inevitable. One small decision at a time, one transfer at a time, 1 month at a time. And one day you'll open your banking app, see that number, and realize something surprising. Your financial life didn't change overnight, but your relationship with money did.